Hi friends, welcome to the Modern Learning. Today we're going to learn what are conditionals. So let's get started. A conditional sentence is based on the word if. Conditionals are also known as if clauses. We use them to say that one thing depends on something else. As mentioned earlier, a conditional sentence is based on the word if. There are always two parts to a conditional sentence. One part beginning with if to describe a possible situation, and the second part which describes the result. For example, if you study hard, you will pass your exams. If it rains, we'll get wet. If I'm tired, I go to bed early. If we arrive late, we must get a taxi. Note that the order of the clauses does not change the meaning. For example, you will pass your exam if you study hard. We'll get wet if it rains. I go to bed early if I'm tired. Now there are four conditionals in English: zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, and third conditional. And today we'll learn zero conditional. We use the zero conditional to talk about things that are generally true, especially for laws and rules. For example, if I drink too much coffee, I can't sleep at night. Or if you heat water to 100 Celsius, it boils. Note, the order of the clauses does not change the meaning. For example, ice melts if you heat it. In zero conditional sentence, we can replace if with when because both express general truths. The meaning will be the same. For example, ice melts when you heat it. Now let's check out the structure. In zero conditional sentences, the tense in both parts of the sentence is the simple present. Now, if clause, which is the conditional clause, and main clause, which is the result. So in the if clause, we'll use if or when plus simple present, and in the main clause, we'll use the simple present, which means that if this thing happens, that thing happens too. Let's check out the examples. If I get a headache, I take a painkiller. Now, if clause is the condition and the other part is the result. Let's change the order of the clauses. I take a painkiller if I get a headache. Let's replace if with when. When I get a headache, I take a painkiller. I take a painkiller when I get a headache. If it rains, the grass gets wet. The grass gets wet if it rains. Or, when it rains, the grass gets wet. Or, the grass gets wet when it rains. The zero conditional is used to make statements about the real world and often refers to general truths such as scientific facts. For example, if you freeze water, it becomes a solid. Or plants die if they don't get enough water. Or if my sister has a cold, I usually get it. The zero conditional is also often used to give instructions, using the imperative in the main clause. For example, if you want to come, call me before 5. Meet me here if we get separated. Ask your mom if you're not sure what to do. So friends, this was all about zero conditionals. What are first conditionals? Now, there are four conditionals in English: zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, and third conditional. Today we'll learn first conditional. We use the first conditional when we talk about future situations we believe are real or possible. For example, if it doesn't rain tomorrow, we'll go to the beach. Or when I finish work, I'll call you. Note that the order of the clauses does not change the meaning. For example, we'll go to the beach if it doesn't rain tomorrow. Or I'll call you when I finish work. Or if it rains, you'll get wet. Now let's check out the structure. In first conditional sentences, the tense in if clause is simple present and in the main clause is simple future. Now if clause is the condition and main clause is the result. In the if clause, we'll use if or when plus simple present, and in the main clause, we'll use simple future. Means if this thing happens, that thing will happen. Instead of if, it is also common to use this structure with unless, as long as soon as, or in case instead of if. For example, I'll leave as soon as the babysitter arrives. Or I'll give you a key in case I'm not at home. Or I don't want to stay in London unless I get a well-paid job. Check out some more examples. If traffic is bad, he'll be late. Now, let's change the position of the clauses. He'll be late if traffic is bad. Or if she doesn't study, she'll fail the test. Or I'll go to the party tomorrow if I study today. Or you can play in the living room as long as you don't make a mess. Or I'll bring an umbrella in case it rains. Or you'll never understand trigonometry unless you study diligently. You can also use modals in the main clause instead of the future tense to express the degree of certainty, permission, or a recommendation about the outcome. For example, if you drop that glass, it might break. Or I may finish that letter if I have time. Or if he calls you, you should go. So friends, this was all about first conditionals. What are second conditionals? So let's get started. Now there are 4 conditionals in English: zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, and third conditional. Today we'll learn second conditional. The second conditional is used to imagine present or future situations that are impossible or unlikely in reality. For example, if we had a garden, we could have a cat, but in reality we don't have, so we can't keep. If I were taller, I would buy this dress, but I'm not taller, so I can't buy. Note that the order of the clauses does not change the meaning. For example, if we had a garden, we could have a cat. Or we could have a cat if we had a garden. If I were taller, I would buy this dress. Or I would buy this dress if I were taller. Check out the structure. In second conditional sentences, the tense in if clause is simple past and in the main clause is would plus infinitive. Now if clause is the condition and main clause is the result. In if clause, we'll put if plus simple past, and in the main clause, we'll put would plus infinitive. Means if this thing happened, that thing would happen. The type 2 conditional refers to an unlikely or hypothetical condition and its probable result. These sentences are not based on the actual situation. For example, if I were rich, I would buy a BMW. Or if it didn't rain, we would play cricket. Or if I knew where she lived, I would go and see her. Check out some more examples. She would hurt herself if she fell. Now in the main clause, we'll use would plus infinitive, while in the if clause, we'll use simple past. If it rained, you would get wet. We might buy a larger house if we had more money. If I were a plant, I would love the rain. I wouldn't worry if I were you. He would travel more if he was younger. If I were you, I would give up smoking. In type 2 conditional sentences, you can also use modals in the main clause instead of would to express the degree of certainty, permission, or a recommendation about the outcome. For example, we might buy a larger house if we had more money, or if he called me, I couldn't hear, or he could go to the concert if you gave him your ticket. So friends, this was all about second conditionals. What are third conditionals? Now there are 4 conditionals in English: zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, and third conditional. Today we'll learn third conditional. Third conditional sentences are used to explain that present circumstances would be different if something different had happened in the past. For example, if I had cleaned the house, I could have gone to the movies. Or if it had rained last night, you would have gotten wet. Note that the order of the clauses does not change the meaning. If I had had enough money, I would have gone to Japan. Or I would have gone to Japan if I had had enough money. In third conditional sentences, the tense in if clause is past perfect and in the main clause is perfect conditional. If clause is the condition and main clause is the result. In if clause we use past perfect while in main clause we use perfect conditional. Means if this thing had happened, that thing would have happened. The type 3 conditional is used to refer to an unreal past condition and its probable past result. For example, if I had money, I would have bought BMW. Or if it hadn't rained, we would have played cricket. If you had studied harder, you would have passed the exam. Let's check out some more examples. If she had fallen, she would have hurt herself. Now in the if clause we use past perfect while in the main clause we use past conditional. If it had rained, you would have gotten wet. Or we would have bought a larger house if we had more money. If she had accepted the proposal, she would have joined the company. If I had known you were in the hospital, I would have visited you. So friends, this is all about third conditionals. If you like the video, just give a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. See ya!